Right then guys, it's PSL here, and I'm here for part 12 in my Grand Prix Manager 2 series, Managing Jordan. Now last time out we did 2 Grand Prix, namely the Spanish Grand Prix and Canadian Grand Prix. So if we look at the results, as you can see, race 7, the Spanish Grand Prix, Rubens Barrichello, he won that in a pretty comfortable fashion, to be honest. Come the end anyway, it was a slightly manic Grand Prix, but come the end, Barrichello distinctly came out on top. Gerhard Berger came in second, Katayama in fourth. Once again, Katayama proving how phenomenal of a driver he is. Panis probably would have got second, he certainly would have scored some points, but then he scored no points, and that was because of, well, he dropped positions randomly. Now I said in the video I would find out while editing what happened to Panis, but there was no penalty, it never popped up on screen. Although someone did actually leave a comment in the previous episode, I'll put it up on screen now. They did put a comment saying that there's a rare glitch in this game where one of your drivers will they'll complete a lap and it won't get counted, and it's rare but it does happen, and unfortunately that's what happened to Panis. So once again, more bad luck for Olivier Panis, he got a lap discounted. So if we look at the actual Drivers' Championship, well, I mean, Barrichello, he's leading it by, well, he's comfortably leading it. He's 11 points ahead of Gerhard Berger, and then Berger's 1 ahead of Häkkinen, and Häkkinen is 7 ahead of Olivier Panis. Now we've got Ukko Katayama in 5th, and let's not forget that Katayama won the last Grand Prix, the Canadian Grand Prix. He beat Michael Schumacher, he beat Olivier Panis. And then just a reminder, one other thing from the previous episode, the drivers, no, not that. We want to look at the injured drivers specifically. There we go, Jacques Villeneuve is injured and is going to miss the next 2 Grand Prix. So that's big news. Jacques Villeneuve, one of the top drivers for McLaren, obviously. But no, Villeneuve's going to be out for the next couple of Grand Prix, which really isn't going to help McLaren at all. And that means that, well, replacing Villeneuve is... there we go, I've got that in the end. Replacing Villeneuve is their test driver Jan Magnussen. And if you look at the driving attributes, Jan Magnussen's driving attributes are distinctly worse than Villeneuve's. So, while Jan Magnussen, he's not dreadful, but compared to Villeneuve, yeah, he's not that great. And also, one thing I should clear up is that I said in the previous episode this would be Jan Magnussen's debut Grand Prix, but it won't be. As you can actually see, it actually says it in the game. Jan Magnussen has already done 1 race in his career. I believe, going off the top of my head, I did check, I think it's the 1995 Pacific Grand Prix. So Jan Magnussen, while it won't be his debut Formula 1 race, he's still certainly a rookie, so I'm interested to see how he'll do. So as per usual, we've made a trip to Enstone to break into Benetton's factory, and they've actually only now got 3 parts on their car which are better than ours. And that's because, well, partly because, you know, we had some parts that were better than theirs anyway, but also there's several parts which we've taken from them. Brake system, we're going to go for it for $750, and there you go. In fact, we were manufacturing another brake system. So if you look here on the manufacturing screen, and this is a part of the game which I really have glossed over because it doesn't really have any significance, but as you can see, you got all the test tubes kind of on the left hand side with the transmission one, you know, partly filled up, and that's because at some point this series we decided to improve our transmission, and I think we've also got something else on the go. Yes, we got some vanes which we're currently manufacturing. In fact, I will start manufacturing an improved rear wing. The problem is, well, the reason I haven't really mentioned this part of the game is because it has no significance really. Because it takes a long time for these bars to fill up. I mean, the vanes, I don't even know how long I've been trying to manufacture better vanes. Maybe since the start of this season. At least, I probably started actually some point last season, to be honest. But the thing is yes, you can improve it, you can manufacture a new part and improve it and etc. But the thing is that improvements will only last till the end of the current season. So let's say we get a new vanes at the end of the next Grand Prix. So we'll have a part which is better rated, maybe lighter as well, but either way it is better. But the thing is once we start the next season, that part gets removed because the on-the-shelf parts become just as good as the part we develop. So that's the reason I don't really mention this part of it, because it takes so long to do for such a small upgrade which lasts for such a short amount of time. It's kind of pointless doing. I just leave it on in the background, and if we do ever get an upgrade, it's nice. But apparently we were developing a brake system upgrade. Not like we need it anymore, because if we go on the advice, now it's... Oh, actually it tells us that we need to test our brake system, but either way it is telling us now that we don't need a better one, certainly. So, you know, we have improved the car. Right, here we go. Michael Schumacher's broken the qualifying lap record, and again, I'm expecting other people to, I mean, the Williams maybe? Oh no, of course, Michael Schumacher is a Williams driver. Yeah, I still haven't quite got used to that. But the Benettons I'm expecting to beat the qualifying lap record. There we go, there's Gerhard Berger, Hakkinen, and that might be it. So the lap record has gone down, I think, by nearly a second on last year's record. Right, and we now need to get our guys out there. Right, so our guys are about to do their lap. We got Barrichello there and Panis there. And I'm slightly worried. Well, Panis is actually coming up to Fontana, and we've also got Barrichello who's catching up to Bertrand Gachot. So I'm worried that we're going to tell our guys to do or die now. They're going to catch up to the back of those guys, and then they're not going to do their best lap, which really wouldn't be great, to be honest. I mean, we have seen it in the past. I think at Imola, Panis was held up, but then still took pole position. So we'll have to wait and see, really, but unless Fontana's going to come into the pits. No, Fontana is staying out there. As you can see up the top of the screen now, coming towards the Adelaide hairpin, Barrichello has already... He's caught up to Gachot. He's not directly behind yet, but I think give it a couple more corners. Barrichello is definitely going to be held up by Gachot. Where is Panis? Yeah, he's catching up to Fontana. Fortunately, the Minardi is slightly quicker and Panis is slightly further behind. The session's coming to an end, that's good. Okay, but Barrichello is going to complete his lap now, coming around the final corner, being held up by Bertrand Gachot. Will he take pole position? And yes, he will. He's done it by nearly 3 seconds. What about Olivier Panis? Can he take pole position at his home Grand Prix? Barrichello is out! A collision there I saw at the top of the screen. That is not good whatsoever. Right, okay, we're going to... Right, Panis didn't beat his teammate. Cancel orders. Get into the pits. Oh no, that was for the wrong person. Cancel orders. Get into the pits. Right then, so here we are with the qualifying results. Barrichello from Panis, Hakkinen, Berger. That's as to be expected. Then we got Williams as the third quickest team. Michael Schumacher in 5th and Damon Hill in 6th. That is a slight surprise. Martin Brundle in 7th. Now we know that the Sauber is comparable to the Williams in the sense that they've got the same engine. So Martin Brundle has done a brilliant job, because let's not forget the Sauber is still worse than the Williams in terms of its chassis and aerodynamic package. But Brundle was only a 10th off Michael Schumacher. So that's a good performance for him. Coulthard in 8th, then we've got both Ferraris. Johnny Herbert in 11th. Jan Magnussen, in only his second Formula 1 qualifying session, is in 13th. And look at that, Bertrand Gachot in the Pacific has avoided falling behind the 107% cut-off time. He's 2 seconds quicker than his teammate, and I think that's partly because, well, maybe Gachot held up Barrichello. That might have been the case, but I think what is more likely, because I know it happens in this game, is that Barrichello helped Gachot to go faster. Okay, so looking at the grid for the start of the French Grand Prix, as you can see, Barrichello is on pole position, which does mean that, despite the crash he had in qualifying, it wasn't significant enough to take him out of the Grand Prix, thankfully, so we will still have both of our drivers and both of our cars in this French Grand Prix. Right then, so as we can see, both of our drivers are going to be doing a 2-stop strategy, as per usual. Barrichello, because he took pole position by, I think, 0.6 of a second over Panis, he'll be coming in a lap later. And that's pretty much everything. They've both got new tyres on. Yes, they have. So we'll head out to the formation lap. No one has stalled, actually. So the 1997 French Grand Prix is underway. Once again, it's still both Jordans and both Benettons and both Williams. No one has retired at this early stage. And I think it's just... Yep, I think the grid is just as it started, really. As it lined up. Barrichello from Panis, Hakkinen from Berger and Schumacher from Hill. Right, so Hakkinen's coming into the pits already, as is Damon Hill. So that's very interesting. We're not coming into lap 24-25. Kenny Brack and Eddie Irvine have retired at the same time. Okay, so maybe that's a collision between both of those drivers there. Okay, Gerhard Berger's close, but Michael Schumacher's about 40 seconds off. And Martin Brundle, he has retired. So that's really unlucky for him, to be honest. 24 laps worth of fuel from Panis, though. Hopefully this is a quick, uneventful stop. 12.3 seconds, that's not too bad. And then same for Barrichello. Gerhard Berger is also in the pits. I think he came in the same lap as Olivier Panis. So again, 24 more laps worth of fuel for Barrichello. 12.5 second pit stop. And hopefully the field should... Okay, that isn't what's happened. Somehow Panis has been jumped in the pits. Are you kidding? As you can see in the bottom left, it's got an R next to Barrichello's name. I think Barrichello has retired from the French Grand Prix. Right, so Michael Schumacher's coming to the pits. That means Panis is now back up into second. He's 8.4 seconds behind Gerhard Berger. Although he's catching up, he's just caught up 3 seconds in that last lap. Now, if it's going to be anything like the last stint, oh no, Panis is now 9 seconds behind. But if it's going to be anything like the last pit stop stint, Berger will be coming in the same lap as Panis. Kelvin Berta's just retired. But if it's anything like that, Berger's going to be coming in the same lap as Panis. And anyway, unless Panis comes in after Berger, which is unlikely, I don't see any way how we're going to win this Grand Prix unless Gerhard Berger retires, which I doubt. Because at the moment, Panis just lost 4 seconds to Gerhard Berger in that last lap. Right, so Gerhard Berger actually has come into the pit before Olivier Panis. That is something I wasn't expecting. But as you can see, look, Berger's only 12 seconds behind. So we got... Panis did 2 or 3 laps on fumes. So, hopefully... So also we will have a shorter pit stop because, of course, we don't need to put in as much fuel as Gerhard Berger would have done when he came into the pits. So, 24 laps worth of fuel. Please be a quick pit stop. I don't think it can be quick enough. 12.2 seconds, our quickest pit stop of the Grand Prix, but that just won't be enough. Unfortunately, Gerhard Berger has retaken the race lead, and also, I feared this might happen, but Michael Schumacher has taken second once again. The only thing I can hope for, because it would be preferable in the Drivers' Championship, is that Michael Schumacher passes Gerhard Berger, because then Benetton are scoring significantly less points than they would do otherwise. Well, actually, scrap Michael Schumacher trying to help me out. He has come into the pits once again. So, we're 25 seconds behind Gerhard Berger. Sometimes we're quicker, sometimes Berger's quicker. On the whole, Gerhard Berger is quicker than Panis, unfortunately. And I think that means that, well, Benetton, Gerhard Berger, unless they retire, all come into the pits again. He's won the Grand Prix easily, and in fact, we're 29 seconds behind Berger now. I think even if Berger came into the pits, he could still come out ahead of us. Okay, so Magnussen has retired, as has Pedro Diniz. We've just got a few laps left to go. I do not see Berger coming into the pits. I think he's going to win by the margin which we've been at for the past few laps. 20 seconds. And there you go, Gerhard Berger. He's going to win the 1997 French Grand Prix about 20 seconds ahead of Olivier Panis. So there you go, Berger from Panis, from Michael Schumacher in third. Williams, that's one of their best performances actually. Although I think Michael Schumacher, yes he did, Michael Schumacher finished second at the Canadian Grand Prix last time out, and that was a strange Grand Prix to be fair, but still, regardless, it happened. It was still a good performance from Michael Schumacher. Less so for Damon Hill. I think he finished 4th or 5th come the end. Yeah, Damon Hill in 4th, but he was 20 seconds behind his teammate, so actually, well, I mean, to be fair, Damon Hill didn't do atrociously. He was still the next car after Michael Schumacher, but still, not a great day for us, really. We lost 4 points to Gerhard Berger. Why did Barrichello retire? He span off. That's fantastic. That's all we need, really. But still, it's Berger who won. Unfortunately, that's not going to do us any favours. Well, both actually, Barrichello and the Drivers' Championship. I think Barrichello was 11 points ahead of Gerhard Berger. Well, now he's only 1 point ahead. So we've lost our 2-point lead. Benetton have now got themselves a 2-point lead. So we've now got to try and catch up to them. But let's not forget, we've still got a lot of Grand Prix left to go this season. 2 points is not significant. We could easily get that in the Grand Prix. So I'm not too concerned. And especially as we're unlikely to fall out of the top 2. Because McLaren, well, McLaren, they're in third. They're only on 33 points. So they're not even close to challenging Jordan or Benetton. Okay, so just before we head into the British Grand Prix, we've got into Williams' factory once again. We're going to steal another part. It's amazing the FIA haven't caught on to us. Because surely when they do car inspections, they must go, Jordan didn't have that at the previous Grand Prix, and coincidentally, that's the same part which either Williams or Benetton has. But then again, that's why you need a good security system, so then you can catch people breaking into your factory, and then subsequently you will be fined by the FIA. I think it's $250,000 if you get caught snooping around a team's factory. So, we'll go and try and take their steering system. I think we do need one of them, so... okay. Right, the securities actually... We're able to get into their factory, but it's too tight to be able to steal anything. In that case, I think we'll just buy Williams' ABS system off of them, because for some reason they have been developing an ABS system despite the fact it is illegal. It's a driving aid which they've got which we haven't, and we can actually buy it for money. We don't need to swap anything for it, so we'll just buy their ABS technology. So there you go, not the most productive trip to Williams' factory, but at the same time, if ABS ever does get legalised this series, that will have been a handy transaction. Oh, once again, Michael Schumacher, now Damon Hill, now Uko Katayama, now Eddie Irvine. I imagine soon Gerhard Berger and Mika Häkkinen will all be breaking the qualifying lap record, which was set by Martin Brundle in a Jordan last season. So I do just want to get that out there. Oh, there you go, actually, Häkkinen taking it down to the 22s, the 1 minute 22s. Same for Gerhard Berger. Right, we do need to get our guys out there. And as I was saying, the existing qualifying lap record was set last season by Martin Brundle in a Jordan. Now that Grand Prix was an interesting one. We did actually get a 1-2 finish. I think it was our first 1-2 finish in dry conditions. But we took first and second in qualifying. We finished the race in first and second. But if you look at the race times, all of the other guys were directly behind us. So that was back in the day. That was back in 1996 when we had qualifying pace, but we didn't really have race pace, and we literally won the Grand Prix. We took first and second just by, well, purely the fact that no one could overtake us. Hopefully it won't be like that this season. As you can see, Rubens Barrichello is about to start his qualifying lap. There's not good news for Olivier Panis though. He is actually held up by Montemini before he's even started his qualifying lap. And last time we did a qualifying session around Silverstone with one of our guys behind a 40. The 40 driver blew up, he retired. That was Luca Badoa though, not Montemini, but regardless, we haven't got good form. So coming across the line, Rubens Barrichello, will he take pole position? Yes he will! Benetton took the qualifying lap record down into the 1 minute 22s, and Barrichello has taken the qualifying lap record down into the 1 minute 20s, and Panis hasn't been able to beat that. And in fact, whoa, Bertrand Gachot has just been taken out of qualifying by Rubens Barrichello. That's the second year in a row where one of our drivers has taken out one of the backmarker drivers in qualifying. So we're just being reminded once again that Rubens Barrichello broke the qualifying lap record with a 1 minute 20.9. Now I should mention that the qualifying lap record last season, which was set by Martin Brundle, was a low 1 minute 26. So that means these cars, or certainly Rubens Barrichello, and he's still driving for Jordan, so he's still in the same team, Rubens Barrichello is going 5 seconds a lap quicker around Silverstone this year than he did last year. And in fact, I've only just noticed there are 2 very strange qualifying results. As we can see, Barrichello took pole position from Gerhard Berger in 2nd, Häkkinen's in 5th, Panis is in 6th. Little did I realise that Kenny Brack once again qualified in 4th place. That's becoming quite a habit for Kenny Brack in the Arrows. But to add to that list, finally Minardi, they've had an exceptional qualifying session. I think pretty much all of the backmarker teams, apart from 40, have had one exceptional qualifying session. Even Tyrrell did when they were still in the sport. But Giancarlo Fisichella for Minardi has qualified in 3rd. So as always, we're on the race strategy screen. We're doing a 2-stop strategy. Barrichello initially is coming in a lap later than his teammate Panis. Hopefully that means that Barrichello will be able to retain the race lead, assuming he can hold it after the first lap. Although, as you may notice, Barrichello's second pit stop will be on lap 41. Panis's will be on lap 42. Now I'm hoping that by doing that, Panis, he might be able to gain some track position by going slightly further with his second stint. Oh, Fisichella. No, you're kidding. Fisichella qualified in 3rd, but on the starting grid to start the formation lap, he has stalled his car and will have to start the race on the pit lane. So the 1997 British Grand Prix is underway. We've still got Barrichello leading from Berger in 2nd. Kenny Brack, though, has still been able to hold 3rd place in his arrows. Panis is still in 5th, still behind Mika Häkkinen. Then we got the Ferraris battling out behind. I think it's Eddie Irvine in 7th. So we could see a good scrap between Ferrari and Williams. And then really it's just Saubers, McLarens, and then the backmarker teams really. Or at least the backmarker teams that were able to progress from qualifying. Right, this is actually becoming a concern. Panis is in 5th. As you can see, he's 51 seconds behind the leader, 53 seconds behind. Häkkinen passed Kenny Brack several laps ago. And Häkkinen, he's only a few seconds behind Berger. So Panis still cannot get past Kenny Brack. He doesn't have to worry about Mika Häkkinen. Häkkinen got past on, I think, lap 4. We're on lap 11. Panis is losing an extraordinary amount of time compared to his teammate and both Benettons, and he still can't get past Kenny Brack. Well, I think he's got past now because Kenny Brack is coming to the pits, but Panis has lost about a minute in comparison to his teammate. I doubt we'll be able to catch that up because, at the very least, I mean, I don't know, Panis, best case scenario, Panis is as quick as Barrichello. We've rarely, if ever, seen Panis be quicker than Barrichello, so I'm not expecting much. Hopefully, Panis can secure 4th place. If we get retirements for any of the Benetton drivers, then, you know, Panis can gain the position, but I'm pretty certain that Panis, he's not going to get any better than 4th. He's already been lapped. Panis has retired. Well, I think for some insane reason, Panis has ran out of fuel. Because he didn't come into the pits, he should have done. Because I just did Barrichello's pit stop. I decided not to show it because we all know what happens. But I just serviced Barrichello in the pits. I think, I'll tell you what, because if this happened, this would be utter baloney. It really would. Because as I established, to the cost of several championship points come the end, as I established in the early episodes of this series, you can't double stack your cars. Now I think, involuntarily, I tried to do that, because as we know, Panis was meant to come in a lap earlier than Barrichello, but I think, because Panis had been lapped, he was trying to come in at the same time as Barrichello was in the pits, decided not to come in, ran out of fuel, retired himself. Panis, I mean, I really do like you in real life, but honestly, in this series, I am getting very sick of you very quickly. Rubens Barrichello has now retired. I don't know what that's all about, but he is out. Great, so we're not going to score any points this Grand Prix. It looks like Benetton are going to score 16 points. Jordan, we're not going to get any. Oh no, Jan Magnussen. No, Jan Magnussen, he was doing better than Brundle, better than his teammate David Coulthard. Jan Magnussen was in 6th place. I thought he was going to score a point for McLaren, but he's retired. That was the only crumb of comfort for me, for having both of my drivers go out, was at least Jan Magnussen was going to score a point. I mean, fair enough, unless Magnussen has spun off, he has proved himself to be a decent driver, certainly better than Coulthard. But look, it's a Benetton 1-2. Irvine took 3rd though, fair play to him, taking 3rd of this home Grand Prix. There's Katayama in 4th. Actually, one of the few times now that Irvine has beaten Katayama when it matters. Schumacher in 5th, and Martin Brundle beat Damon Hill. Okay, who retired and why? Barrichello with a collision. I don't know what he collided with because no one else retired on that same lap. I don't know. Panis out of fuel. Yeah, I thought so. He just refused to double stack on his own accord. That was stupid, really. And then Jan Magnussen spun off. To be fair, I think Jan Magnussen has still proved himself. You know, he was still competitive this Grand Prix. He qualified behind Coulthard. Somehow was able to get ahead of him in the race. Jan Magnussen, yeah, he spun off, but I think he has proved himself to be a decent driver nonetheless. Hang on, Jos Verstappen and Kenny Brack? No, wait, no. No. I got no notification about anyone beating the qualifying lap record. I was just checking to see what the qualifying times were last year because I mean, at the moment people are doing 1 minute 44s. The lap times we were doing last year were, well, I mean, the pole position time last year was a 46 dead from Gerhard Berger. But arrows, in qualifying, both are in the 1 minute 43s. Right, so as we can see in the stadium section, coming around the last couple of corners, there are 3 yellow cars in a convoy. We haven't sent out Take and Yue. No, it's just one of the 40 cars is out there. You're kidding. Panis has retired from qualifying without setting a lap time. I think him and the 40 driver both took each other out. Well, there you go. Barrichello, can we get some good news? Yes, Barrichello has broken the qualifying lap record by 2 seconds, but Panis won't be taking part in qualifying because whether it's his fault, whether it's the 40 driver's fault, I don't know, but either way, Panis has crashed out of qualifying without contributing a lap time. Right then, so here are the qualifying results. I can scarcely believe it. This was a mad qualifying session. Barrichello's on pole position, 2 seconds ahead of Kenny Brack in second, and Kenny Brack had the qualifying lap record. Briefly, Jos Verstappen's in third in the other Arrows. Arrows qualified genuinely second and third on genuine pace. Jacques Villeneuve, he's back in the car. He's recovered from his injury which he sustained at the Canadian Grand Prix. He has qualified in 8th ahead of David Coulthard, so once again, just reaffirming the belief that Villeneuve is a very good driver, better than Coulthard, better than Magnussen. You may have noticed there's only 17 people who set qualifying lap times. Well, obviously, Panis didn't. He crashed into the back of, I don't know whether it was Padoa or Montemini, but one of those guys. And the team that hasn't actually qualified is Ferrari. I don't know why they've decided not to turn up to this Grand Prix. It's not like it's a long trek from Italy to here. It's not a long trek. They are very competitive. In fact, because this track, the pecking order around this track, I mean, I am saying this even though Arrows are second and third, but the pecking order around this track is generally decided by the engine you have, and Ferrari, they've got one of the best engines. Sure, they haven't got a Renault engine, but I'd say they can probably beat everyone else in a straight line, apart from maybe McLaren. But for some reason, they haven't turned up to this Grand Prix. Maybe it's financial issues, I don't know, but for some reason, Ferrari, both Katayama and Eddie Irvine, haven't turned up to Hockenheim. Right then, so I have sorted out the race strategy for our sole remaining driver, Rubens Barrichello, and as you can see, you may be able to notice if you're good at maths, but as you can see, we have fitted a 60% fuel tank because Hockenheim, I know it's viable to do a one-stop strategy. As you can see, tyre set 1, once again the tyre set we used in practice, they did 18 laps and they still had 41% of their life remaining. And I've also just noticed while I've been talking, I forgot to renew sponsor contracts. That is why our car is looking very barren. It's just yellow with Marlboro sponsor on the front. Right, we'll need to renew those sponsor contracts come the end of this Grand Prix. But it's fine because we've got about $11 million in the bank, so it's not like... Basically what I'm saying is this Grand Prix might be the first one this season where we don't actually make a profit, but who knows, we're fine financially. One race with a lack of sponsors isn't the end of the world. So, formation lap. Kenny Brack. What is it? Why? Why has this happened? Fisichella at Silverstone qualified in third and then stalled the car. This time Kenny Brack qualified in second and stalled the car. Right then, so Rubens Barrichello is starting from first. No one is in second, and Jos Verstappen is in third in the Arrows. I can scarcely believe it. This is going to be a phenomenal Grand Prix. It's around Hockenheim. Jos Verstappen has qualified in third/second, depending on how you want to look at it. There's only 14 cars starting this Grand Prix, and the 1997 German Grand Prix around Hockenheim is underway. Barrichello, of course, has still retained the race lead. Jos Verstappen, though, is in second. He is still ahead of both Benetton drivers. And Kenny Brack, unfortunately for him, he's going to exit the pits now. The question now is do Arrows have genuine race pace? Well, look at that. Okay, Jos Verstappen has dropped down to third, but after a couple of laps, we pulled out a 12-second gap on Jos Verstappen. It's now Mika Hakkinen, but even since then, we've actually pulled out a further couple of seconds on Mika Hakkinen. So once again proving that once we get the same engines as Benetton, we can compete with them. I mean, we're ebbing of, we're toing and throwing, but we're basically the same pace as Mika Hakkinen. So regardless, I mean, we have got genuine pace. I mean, unlike last year where we were just slipping down the order rapidly. And, it was purely down to engines. I did say that if we had a decent engine, such as a Renault engine, which we've got now, we would be right up there, and this is proving it. Yes, I know we've had other improvements since then, but the main improvement to our car is the engine. We've got a better engine, and now suddenly we're easily competitive. Right, so Gerhard Berger's in the pits along with Jos Verstappen, Michael Schumacher, Villeneuve. One thing I should point out though, is that Mika Häkkinen has already done his pit stop. He pitted on like lap 14. That proves two things. One, Häkkinen must be doing a two-stop strategy, and two, he was already a pit stop ahead of his teammate because he came into the pits and was still ahead of Gerhard Berger. So Gerhard Berger really did lose out, being stuck up behind Jos Verstappen in the same way that Panis did behind Kenny Brack at the British Grand Prix. Right, so Häkkinen's coming into the pits again, so he's coming into the pits. I think he will still be ahead of Gerhard Berger. There you go, where it says 22 seconds ahead of Häkkinen. I think we're slightly further ahead than that. But regardless, assuming Häkkinen isn't coming into the pits again, we've got the same amount of fuel. We're 42 seconds ahead of Häkkinen. We're not coming into the pits again, neither's Häkkinen. Both the Jordan and the Benetton car have got very good reliability. Barrichello's a decent driver, Häkkinen's slightly better. We both should have the same fuel level, assuming Häkkinen isn't coming into the pits again. The only advantage Häkkinen has got is slightly less worn tyres, but that's not enough of an advantage, especially at a track like Hockenheim, where it's not tyres that give you performance, it's horsepower. Right then, so we just got a few laps left to go, and yes, we had the fewest starters of any Grand Prix this season, but I think we're going to have no retirements. But Rubens Barrichello, no, I speak too soon. Johnny Herbert, he has retired. But Rubens Barrichello is going to win comfortably the 1997 German Grand Prix around Hockenheim. Complete contrasting fortunes to the previous Grand Prix. Well, no, to the Grand Prix last year around Hockenheim. Unfortunately, Benetton taking second and third means that, well, we've scored the same amount of points in the Constructors' Championship. So we're still going to be a good... I think we're 18 points behind. But it should be noted, not only did Johnny Herbert retire, so did Martin Brundle. Oh, this is big news. At this moment in time, of course, as of the 1996 or 1997 season, the actually three times world champion, because he won the Drivers' Championship last season, so the double or triple world champion Michael Schumacher is unwell, and he's so unwell that he won't be taking part of the next Grand Prix. To be honest, I'm not that certain whether we'll win the Constructors' Championship this season, but I do have confidence that Barrichello can win the Drivers' Championship, because he is a very good driver. He's better than Panis. He always gets one over on Olivier Panis, and Panis seems to be the slightly worse one with retiring, but I just have confidence that we have a quicker car than Benetton, and Barrichello, he's only 3 points behind Berger. He can easily catch that up and pull out a gap which he had at the start of this episode. And then the Constructors' Championship, we are 18 points behind Benetton in the Constructors' Championship. Second place is guaranteed. We're going to get at least second place. McLaren, this entire episode, only scored 2 points. 2 points. They would have got 3 if Jan Magnussen hadn't retired at the second Grand Prix he did, or the third Grand Prix ever that he did. So yep, next time out we'll be doing the Hungarian Grand Prix around the Hungaroring. Last season, that was a phenomenal Grand Prix. We had an entire episode dedicated to the Hungarian Grand Prix because the weather changed, I think 6 times that Grand Prix the weather changed. It was a phenomenal Grand Prix, so be sure to check it out next time. So I'll see you then.